Hello and welcome to Beyond Food Podcast. こんにちは、かなです。今回のエピソードは英語になります。ミーガン・ジョーンズさんをお招きしてインタビュー、対話よねをした形になります。ミーガンは Health Behavior Fitness Specialist and Shamanic Guide をしている方なんですね。で、彼女はシェパード、大きい犬いますよね。German Shepherd が2匹にね、いて、近所にね。で、その犬が彼女の犬、愛犬、アイスリンを襲うというとても恐ろしいケースにあったんですね。そして彼女も自分の愛犬と一緒にもうコンクリートの上に倒れて、ちょっと攻撃もされて、それでも、愛犬のアイスリンを守るという、とにかくとても怖い思いをされたんですね。本当にトラウマティックイベントですよね。で、犬アイスリンは生死をさまよって、今はちゃんと元気にお散歩も行けるようになっているんですが、やっとこのお話ができるようになった時期で、インタビュー、対話をしています。で、今回のエピソードでは彼女がこういうトラウマを抱えつつもね、とても忙しいプロのミュージシャンでもあって、そしてウェルネス業界でも活躍されている方なので、日々の生活をこなしていったか、そしてビンジイーティングとかドリンキングとか unhealthy coping tools みたいな感じで、不健康、心や体に、悪影響を与えるものに頼らずどう対応していったかのお話を聞いているんですね。もしよろしければ英語にはなりますがお聞きください。
Hello, Megan.
Hello.
All right. So today we're going to talk about a very traumatic event that happened to you.
Yeah, experienced an attack, a literal attack. It was actually my first open day since October, and I woke up in little vacation mode in my brain, and I had a wonderful walk with my doggy. It was like an hour long, and I know it sounds silly to say this, but we were 1.5 houses away. Like we were, like 2 houses away, but pretty much next to our house. And just walking, didn't know anyone was there, anybody. And out of the blue came loudly galloping 2 huge German shepherds. And my dog sat down and I turned my back to the street. We were facing my friend, my neighbor's house, and they circled around us, and I don't even remember really much. We were on the ground, me and her. It was long. It was vicious. It was brutal. It was awful. And if I hadn't been down with her, she would have died. And if they were interested in me, I would have died because they would have just gone for my neck. I did get bit. I didn't notice I got bitten until about 6 hours afterwards because she was pretty shredded. So eventually, whoever is their owners now, they were off leash. I don't know any situation of whatever went on. And the owners came over, but it took a long time for them to get them off of us. And then I got her in the car and we went to the ER and we were there for 9 hours. We went to one first who gave her pain medication and rinsed out. She had 5 or 6 extensive, what did they say? Severe or something. I can't remember the wording. Wounds, but they wouldn't have, this happened at 11 in the morning in bright sunlight. Very nice morning until it wasn't. And that initial ER said they couldn't get to her surgery till midnight. And I said she's not going to last that long, and they agreed. And so they suggested another ER. I'm having to like make decisions while I'm standing there, and and they suggested another ER that was kind of, between them and my house. But I said to the vet, I was like, who would you have this do this for your baby? Do you know these people? And he said, I don't know these people, but I do know the people that were further away. And I said, fine, I'll go there. Please call. And so they called, and I drove a long way to another ER with her in the back, still in that same state. And then I sat in how in the vet, just like any doctor, but in the vet, they have the treatment rooms, like the doctor rooms where you bring in your doggy or your kitty. So I sat in one of those rooms until 9 p.m. And she came out looking like Frankendog. And it was only, right now when we're recording this, it was only a few weeks ago. So we got the stitches out this week, a few days ago. I don't even know what day it is right now, to be honest. But we
Yeah.
got the stitches out, and she's still healing, and she's doing a really good job. And I took myself, actually, that day when I noticed I had been bit, just because I was in the way, they weren't interested in me, but I got bit in my leg. It ended up being, it's on my right shin, and it ended up being like a huge, mouth-sized bruise with one kind of deep bite. And I tried to go to an urgent care that day while she was in surgery because I decided I probably should go see one, and I found one nearby, but they said they didn't take my insurance. So then the next day, oh, and of course this happened on a Sunday, which is why I was at these ER vets, right?
Yeah.
This happened on a Sunday. And then I tried to go the next day to urgent care, and they all had like 3 or 4 hour waits, and I was going to leave her alone at home. So I waited for 3 days, and then I went to an urgent care, and they put me on antibiotics because they said 99% of dog bites get infected. So, and and because of how I treat my system and my body and what I eat and what I pay attention to and everything, because my body is so cared for at this point when antibiotics go in. I haven't taken antibiotics in a long time. It wrecked my tummy. So I was, dealing with upset stomach and upset mind and upset emotions and wrecked doggy. And I did a very good job, and we did a good job, and everything is fine. But that's what happened.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. As we could see, it's still, of course, very emotional,
It's raw.
traumatic. It's very raw. Yes, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. We can look at so many things, so many layers here, and I'm just trying to see where that we're the reason why we're doing this and where we're supposed to look at it because we of course didn't have anything, before this recording we didn't talk about anything, right? But the reason why you're sharing this, I feel there is a message to everyone who are listening to or watching this, is that it's just horrifying to have that happen to you and your dog. I don't know if you want to share the name of your dog or not.
Iceland.
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 Okay. Okay. So we'll share that. So, Iceland, and then I've seen the crazy scars and then all those things. And she's a trooper, of course. She's amazing that she survived that
Mm-hmm.
attack.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing that you were in there. So, of course, she knows, she, of course, knew that before, but she knows 1,000% that you are a protector for her. Because, her past, she's a rescue, so
Mm-hmm.
she may have had trust issue, whatnot, toward a human. I didn't really see that happening between you girls, of course, but she,
But she has very clear PTSD. She has
right,
lots of anxiety and stuff. So,
right. And on top of that attack, but that she had, I don't want to even call it opportunity. She had this moment that, okay, my owner, my lady, my mom is going to really, protect me. And then you actually did. You were down on the ground with your dog, which is crazy. I can't even imagine how that went.
It was a lot.
It was awful. It was awful. And we want to pass through this, because you could stay in there and it's so sad, so scared you're not going to go for a walk with her anymore. Iceland stays home. You could choose to do that, but you didn't, you really fought every single day. And then not that you have great friends, you have great support, but you did it by yourself, because you had to, because you're capable of, you decided, you chose to do so. And then I feel that it takes a lot of practice, energy shifting, taking care of yourself so that you can take care of your dog. And on top of that, you have a full-time, two full-time jobs. You know, you're a professional musician, you are a really well-demanded, what should I call you? Uh, Specialist shamanism guidance, wellness professional, whatever
Yeah.
the title it may be, because you do so many things. That managing yourself to go through that life, two lives, is hard enough. You have the crazy calendar no one can understand because everything is filled with something. And then you dealt with the traumatic event. I think a lot of people would wonder, how the heck did you do that? As in, like, of course you have trauma, but you had to go through the daily basis of life. How do you do that? How are you doing that? Because I'm sure you're still in the thick of
Yeah.
craziness, trauma, can I say negative emotions or non-supportive emotions, whatever you might call it. How are you doing that? Because how are you isn't a right question, because of course you're not okay. You're not okay. How are you surviving that, I guess, moving your energy?
Yeah. And it's interesting because we can talk about this too. I'll bring it up and then you can remember or not remember. But like, also, I really do believe that what we experience in our lives are reflections of us. So I've had a lot of thinking on that also.
Yeah.
How am I moving through this? On one side, I am grateful to me, like that Snoop Dogg acceptance speech, right? First,
Yeah.
like to thank myself,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Yeah.
because of, you know, you could label it small or big or whatever, like the kind of shitty internal vibe, and that's how I used to treat myself. Like I've moved through all of that stuff into autopilot habits and patterns that really serve me, like how I eat, how I fuel my body, what I choose to eat, why I choose to eat. Because when something like this happens, I mean, I can't even imagine something like this happens, right? And again, well, as we're recording this, it is quite fresh. I mean, it was just literally 3 weeks ago. I It's really important because animals, children, they really take the cues off of you and your energy and your thoughts and your emotions and your feelings. It doesn't matter what you're saying. It does matter what you're saying. But like, even if you're saying, oh, everything's fine, but you're running like, oh my God, if the energy is crazy, um, that's what they read. And for real, I mean, that's just a fact. And dog trainers will talk about that. It doesn't have, you don't have to be a woo woo person to like know that that's actually a fact. Babies really respond to that, animals respond to that. And so I knew that my first job, and I actually, while I was sitting in the ER room, one of the people I talked to was my dog trainer, because I, wanted to tell him what had happened. And he said, remember, the dogs live in the moment. And he's like, right now she's going to have a lot of healing to do, but everything you can do to have, you know, you be you. So I already had planned to, but he reinforced the fact that I curated the energy of my house and the energy in my car and the energy in my thoughts and my brain and my feelings. And one of the only ways to do that is to make sure that your body, my body, is still running as she does, you know. So yeah, I was off. There was one of the days, I think it was the day right after or 2 days after. I've lost so much time. I have no idea literally what day it is or where I am. I look at my schedule because, like you said, my schedule is a very uh, fancy Tetris puzzle. And so I look at the schedule for the day and I go to where I need to go. Or I practice, you know, I learn the music for what I need to practice for wherever I have to go. Um, but there was one day where I realized that I started to make lunch and somehow I don't know, I looked and I was still making lunch and it was 2 hours later. Like you know, you just, it makes no sense because usually you make lunch, it might take you 5 or 15 minutes or something, but you make lunch and then you eat it. But like I had been in the process of making lunch for a couple hours and I don't know how that happened. So that sort of stuff is definitely happening because stuff gets weird when you experience these things. But like I made sure that my physical body was still getting the food that my physical body is used to and more attention, because when you go through that sort of stuff, you're in shock and your cells are in shock and your organs are in shock. And the only way to have any semblance of mental clarity or any semblance of choice and control over your emotions is to make sure that you actually have the fuel that your carbon based, beautiful race car needs, right? So I ate, I exercised, um, I meditated. Were my meditations wonderful and calm and blissful? No, not at all. I meditated because it's what I do. I've got really beneficial things on autopilot that really support me when things are great. They support me when things are good. They support me when things are fine or neutral. And apparently, they really support me when things are what we would label the worst. um, and I also have a shaman that I've been working with for now. It's been 15 years as of this month,
That's crazy.
and it's crazy. And um, you know, I know certain things um, that I can do to help myself. That I also, you know, in different ways, in different situations, you know, I can pull from like a little tool bag, you know, of knowledge that I have that I can give to clients or I can give to whomever. But having her, you know, having calls with her and support, and I've got like literal physical homeworks and I've got other energetic homeworks, which they do noticeably um, move the needle as far as like shifting feelings and thoughts and flashbacks and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. It's, you know, I know it's a very hard thing to even explain, describe for what you do because you summarize it in a few minutes to see what you do and all that. But it's not like it's not something simple. You do this today and then it's gone. It's like you do it every day, and then the more you do, you would discover more of this and of that. I'm like, shit, there's more to do. I
Yeah, and then
discovered
it's
that.
like it's literally like the
Right.
paths keep opening. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then while pathways really keep opening, you have this big event trauma to deal with. And then one thing I love, love, love about you is that you take all the homework very seriously and then apply it to your life, your healing. And then once you know that, okay, this actually works, then you apply to your clients, 100%. I think, you've gone through so many challenges physically, mentally in your life. And then you're looking at those as in what happened for me. was the reason why this happened to me or for me is that so that I can apply this experience and then healing tools, whatnot, to this person in this way because I know the feeling, I know the tools, and then I know how to summarize all the tools to this person. So you like you always say like everything is connected, right? Like you are very good at connecting everything. And then one of the things I feel like you do so well moving your clients' energies when it comes to trauma or a big event or it's just like a heavy energy stuck in the body is many things, but breath work, shamanic guidance and all that. You wanna share a bit about that in case people are wondering, well, what do you mean? Like you do breath work for not just breath work though, but just one of the tools you've been doing so well with your clients is that moving that energy through breath work and then also like a shamanic guidance. I know it is very different per person, so you may not have an example, and that's okay. But I would be curious to know, like, what do you mean, like breath work? What is the breath work you do? It's like a four, breath in for 4 seconds, stop for 4 seconds. It's like a 3 minutes thing, or is that like an hour, or are you guided by something? And is that if you want to share that, that'd be
Yeah.
interesting.
I mean, and what you're saying is exactly because everything looks different for everybody, right? Everybody's life looks different. Everybody, if they've got, ease or struggle with food, or if they've got ease or struggle with, movement, physical activity, or complete resistance, or that's totally in place, or, mindset or self-talk or whatever they've experienced, whether it's, divorce or loss of, loved ones or whatever, or at the same time, I have people come to me when they feel like they've had epic loss and they've lost three people at once. Um, And with that, I'm just going to say, because a lot of times we will go in, shamanic guidance can look like food and helping people. Like even yesterday, I was walking with somebody, through messages, through all this, like, disordered eating resistance still coming up to a different way, right? And then she sees it and she's like, it ended up being the best day yet, right? But it was a morning filled with whatever. And she just needed to move that energy that was keeping her away from really literally just living and caring for her body in regards to food in a manner that's beneficial for her body, right? Shamanic guidance can also look like, helping people with clutter that's surrounding them and protecting them in their house, right? And somebody sent me a picture of their bookcase yesterday evening and then shared with me this morning that, even though she's like, I've got these things out and got these things out, that she's realizing that there's like a lot of energy on some of these other books and she ends up, declaring. So freedom and mental clarity and emotional balance in your life changes. Shamanic guidance looks like all different ways. It can also look like, you know, 3 times a day going outside and leaning on a tree and giving all of everything that doesn't serve you from a specific experience with dogs or every portion of your life up until now down into the tree, into the tree, into the tree as fertilizer for the tree so that that standing nation, the tree nation, can actually come in and support you because there's energy. We all know there's vibration in trees. You don't even have to be woo woo, right? The leaves, the photosynthesis, all the things with the plants and the different leaves, and right. So it can look like eating and decluttering, and it can also look like, practices with trees. Um,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Uh, or essential oils, or Epsom salt baths with orange juice, or there's just like a lot of, or oregano. You steep oregano in Epsom salt baths with oregano. There's like a lot of different practices that I've been assigned, and then I also understand and can help guide other people. But and with the breath work, those box breathing, the 4-4-4 and the 6-3, 6-7-8s, and the 6-3s, right? The 6 in, hold for 3, 6 out, hold for 3, or the 6 in, right? Hold for 7, exhale for 8. Those are so wonderful, and there's a lot of science behind those. Really, some powerful leaders Deepak Chopra and Andrew Weil, and I can't remember any others right now because my brain's not firing properly. But they really have scientifically proven the benefits of those, and mine ends up looking more. It's the energy in the moment. If it's a one-on-one breath work, it is your energy, and the things that come in, it's channeled and it's your guidance, but I end up feeling things also physically that come in, and the people who are doing those breath works with me in the one-on-ones and the groups when I run group breath works, whether it's, you know, 2 people or 10 people or whatever, people say, "Oh, my feet were also tingling," or "Oh, my I felt that also in my ribs," right? There's it I don't necessarily always know who's feeling what if it's a group breath work, but I can say somebody's giving me a big headache up in my right eye. Um, those end up being kind of a combination of verbal processing and allowing the breath to move things through you, and then energy to move through you. A lot of times feelings release, a lot of times emotion release, a lot of times like some image might come into me, and people at the end come out very emotional. Oh, I'm going to do this while I'm talking here because my
Yeah.
dog is knocking at the door, and I'm going to go get
Yeah.
her since this recording is about her. So I'll be right back.
There you go. Go get Iceland. She'll join us.
She will join us.
She'll join us.
Come on in. Hi, honey. Thank you for that brief exit. Sorry.
That's
So
okay.
the breath works will often come in ways that I don't even necessarily understand, or I'll feel something and I'll say something, or I'll say some quote and they'll be like, "I just texted that to my friend earlier." So it's I mean, I actually don't know how to describe it, but it is somatic breath work. It is me feeling and moving through energy with you. It moves a lot. It moves a lot of things. It can open things up and just feel like wide open and so much less stressed. It can help with migraines and TMJ. People have told me they've had, complete relief from TMJ and migraine support. It can help with, other stress related or inflammation related things that feel like struggles. I don't know. I'm not the best at describing it yet.
No, that's okay. It's hard to describe is that, whatever that works for us the best, I feel like it, well, not all the time, but it's really hard to describe it so that people can understand it. It's almost like, can you just go get it or, experience it so that you can feel it? Because I can't verbalize it. I can't formalize it as a word or a sentence. So I feel like whenever I hear that, and then I have experienced your support and your shaman's support and all that, whenever
Right.
I, what I feel that my energy, when I first time I heard about energy, the word of energy, I'm like, what do you mean energy? Like, what is that? But I
Yeah.
feel now is that by understanding and experiencing a lot of support from you and then your shaman, there's a river, like I love mountain, you love mountains and we love mountains and then we love river and then all that. So I see the river running through the mountain, and it's sometimes the water is kind of stagnant, which is stuck because of the rocks or whatever that shouldn't be there, maybe the trees falling down or something like that. So I feel like that's the energy blocker for me. And then I don't know what that is, but the water doesn't go through nice and beautifully, I guess. And then you identify what that is. So let's say maybe it's just like a big rock that shouldn't be there. And then that's the energy blocker. So I also see it as an energy itself. And like something dark, black thingy is in my bloodstream or something like that as a river and then rock. And then you identify, okay, there's a big rock. I see what it is. I'm gonna help you dissolve it or just remove it from the river. So as in from my bloodstream or wherever that might be, I will help you dissolve that energy so that your blood can go through or oxygen, whatever that might be, nutrients can go through it so that my body functions well, my brain functions well, my feeling is lighter or maybe happy or whatever. Will that make sense to you if
Makes
people
sense. And I
describe it that
also,
way?
when you were talking about yes, that's wonderful. I feel like also if people understand or have a concept of what Tai Chi does, or
Mm.
if people understand or have a concept of what acupuncture does, or have been on the table of somebody that does cranial sacral therapy, like it's exactly what Kiana was talking about, and just another kind of form of those things, like the Tai Chi moves energy, the cranial sacral moves energy, the acupuncture moves energy, um, through different ways, whether it's pressure points with needles or acupressure, or like the cranial sacral moves it, or the right, that cranial sacral people will just hover over you, they're not even touching you, and energy moves. So it's um yes, it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah, that's great. And before you go, do you support this kind of, let's say, energy moving in the way you do, one-on-one, group session, whatever that might be at this point of your life? So many things are happening, but do you have some space for someone to come say, hey, I don't really know what's happening, or I have this event or the accident, whatnot. I've seen this person that really didn't maybe re resonate with me, or the approach didn't really resonate with me. Can you help me? If there is this person or group of people, are you, I guess, accepting that
mhm.
person or them
Yeah,
as of now?
I've got I've got space, and I have people that reach out to me through email. I've got people that reach out through me through DMs in different places. Um, and some people are just, ready and want to do like a whole package and just like move through stuff for 3 months. That's wonderful. And I also have some people who say, I need a couple calls.
Yeah,
And that's okay too, because a couple calls could be great and that might be what you need. A couple calls could also lead to something else if you decided you needed that. But yes, I do run groups um, here and there. And so when I do, I'm wide open to accepting people who want to come in. And and if you just want a call with me, then reach out. Yes, I have time.
yeah, that's great. Yeah, your support is tremendous to many people. And thank you for sharing the incident. We're not going to go back there because we're just putting everything behind. And as I get, like you said, energy is just moving through you. I can see that. I can feel that. So that's that. But thank you so much for sharing and for being you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.